Final notation in conjunction with the previous video. We're John C. Rosebank, California. It's 9:19 in the morning, West Coast time, Tuesday, the 21st of May, 2024. It has to be the church showing us the morality and a way to live with values, but it is not a government's job to enforce and inflict their values or someone else's values. And the problem with the government is we have people with conflicted and confusing values. Our democracy is what Aristotle would consider one of the weakest governments we've ever had. But it also entails that we give each other, actually, each person a voice to vote. Now, back then, it was a man, not a woman, and they had to be part of the state and probably had property. Slaves didn't have that much rights for that. Children didn't have the rights. I'm sure as hell no women didn't. But only the men would argue. Only the men would say something about it. Our Constitution today has a little basis in that aspect when it was originally created. And we looked at the slaves, didn't matter who and what they were, they were 3/5. The amendment process wiped that out to make sure that everybody had a right to say. But I am not going to allow either a state or a federal government tell me that this is the religion we have to be worshiping because some religious nut job says it has to be that way. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to have some elected flunky that unfortunately what was explained in Federalist 10 on this one, that I gave consent to be governed over by a flunky who wants his religious viewpoints down my throat. I don't think so, Scooter Boy. Not on my shift, not on my watch. I'm saying the red states want to do this for reasons I don't even understand. What is it about this? Power, control, ego, money, influence? Is that what they're looking for? And they think, well, this is part of democracy. We should be doing this more often on other people, forcing our will upon people. This is democracy. Our vote. In a way, they're reflecting the Athenians, the Greeks, the different townships. Even Sparta had a problem with it. Sparta, most militaristic and theoretically freedom loving, but not all the time. But they were warriors. People look at the power and illusion of the weapon. Let's see, 1 second. I'm coughing worse than General Grievous on Star Wars. They look at the allure, the illusion, the attractiveness of a weapon over people. Doesn't matter what. If it's a weapon, if it's going to be used, then it ought to be worshipped, then it ought to be sanctified, it ought to be christened, it ought to be followed, loved, and then died over. And unfortunately, those kind of thinking gets people killed. They become martyrs. And then their martyrs get followers, and then everything else goes all in a handbasket. History keeps telling us about that one. Those who keep following religious to that kind of fever, that kind of pitch, or that kind of fever, they don't see logic. They don't want to see logic. They are so blinded by it. It's no wonder to go over the cliffs more often than anybody else, singing them praises as they go down to their doom. So I wonder where has these pictures of hell We keep showing that to people. Say, if you don't follow me, you're going down there. I'm on that one. Ah! And some people will say, when can I jump? They're saying it in their own way, and directly and indirectly at this point, Reverend. They're making a point clear to a lot of people. Either follow this way or else. And if you don't follow us, we'll do the what else. And you won't get your virgins. You won't get to sit or be next to the heavenly throne of God. You'll be roasting in the pits of Tartarus, chained and shackled to the pillars of smoking limestone and basaltic rock, smelling sulfur all around. You'll be in hell. And then you'll hear the laughter coming out of these people, left and right. Do you want to be saved? Then you will follow me because I, the charismatic one, doing all the mouthing at this point, forcing you to believe and force you to do the actions I want you to do, even though I'm afraid of doing it in the first place and not telling people about that one. But you think I'm going to be that way about it? No, 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 no. I got to be, I got to be manly. I got to be tough. I got to be this. What we're seeing a lot of more and more these days, and what history is also full of. How we're going to be able to deal with this one, I don't know. How we're supposed to be dealing with this? You got me on that one. Am I apologizing for the salty language? I take nothing back on this one, Rev. I scare, I shock, I freak. That means I'm freaking people out, I'm shocking them, and I'm waking them up to a reality check, even though they are awoke to a reality check. They're probably asking me, why are you using this language? Because who know what I am right now as it is. I'll choose to use a milder, softer way. But right now, we worry about people using the big sticks. Well, my sticks are my words. My sticks are my words. I'm not trying to control, batter, beaten, or anybody else. But if they perceive it, they perceive it. I choose my words carefully. I am not trying to tell people that they should or will follow this one. I'm saying what I'm observing at this point over here, what's happening at this point. And if we are going to be collapsing, I blame every damn voter out there in the United States for screwing this up. I do. In a country that's supposed to be formed on democracy, representative democracy, we're giving our consent to be governed. I'm giving my consent to be governed to a group of idiots who get in office, who got a power scheme up their ass. Now because they got represented and elected, and now they can grab the reins of power, now they think they can lord it over us. No wonder we have revolution in our brains and our bloodstreams right now. We keep seeing idiots like this. But then again, define the term idiot. Define that term. We have minority ruling over the majority when it should have been a majority ruling over the minority, but we allow a minority to have a say. We have to have that conflict. We have to have the parties, even if they have to, yell and scream at each other about their ideas and ideologies. We have to give them the freedom on both sides to say so. That's how our Constitution works. And in order to qualify as an American citizen, and I'm bringing this movie up time and time and time, I love this one because it always reminds me of who and what an American is. It's not the guy it's not the person who keeps bleeding all over the place saying that I've died for freedom and liberty and justice and truth. Oh, no, 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 no. It's not just that. The guy who's dying and bleeding like crazy, or the person's bleeding and dying crazy for the flag, for the uniform. No, no. I'm doing this because I want the next generation or the next guy next to me have that right, have that freedom that I'm sacrificing my life for. And we have had our country built upon that sacrifice. But we've never understood the significance of it until we get into situations we're running into right now. And it's horrifying, isn't it? In our lifetimes, Reverend, we've never come across this. At least not that we remember. For those older than us, they remembered what was back in the 60s. I'm reminded that on a constant basis. But there were other protests happening out there. They will list them in history on that one. But the only thing that sticks in my mind is the only ones I've witnessed. There had been shootings in our cities of citizens from each other and also from law enforcement making the wrong decisions. And we've had protests happening throughout our country for decades on that. Sometimes the laws have changed and sometimes the laws are worsened, depending on your point of view. Some states in our country allow guns to be carried concealed or openly and used if they think their lives are threatened, even though they're not threatened. And then it's up to juries to decide whether or not if it was a legitimate shoot or not. It doesn't help much for the grievers, and they have to see what happened. If they don't happen to get any justice out of it, as they don't see the persons who took their loved ones' lives, how the grievers are supposed to feel about it. Cheated. But if the system worked, the system worked. There's always a winner and loser, unfortunately, when it comes out for it. There's no winners. No absolute winners anyway, because everyone's marked and scarred on this one. And it sucks thinking and talking about things like this. We'd rather be talking about happier things. We want to talk about happier things because we don't want to deal with the horror. The horrible thing sometimes is we have to see through this damn thing and live through it so we can tell the tale about what it was like and tell the next generation not to go through this damn crap we're going through. That's my penance for living. That's my penance for being here. I have to be witness. If I don't get any action, I have to be witness. That is my action. Record, talk about, explain why these things happened. I hear press talking about it from different levels, different companies, independent to corporate, of what they're seeing these days. Sometimes they don't see the complete thing, but then again, who does? We're dealing with people who want to influence others. Okay, how do you do that? Bribe them, give them a story, tell them that they'll get this if they follow, if they consent to be governed by that minority few. They will be rewarded. It's like seeing the pyramid schemes. Seem like the scams at that point. Scams on a constant basis. Reverend, I represent this particular religion over here. Now, hold on, because I know you're an Anglican here, but give this particular Reverend here, Samuel Greed Moonshine, a listen to as he tries to tell you the benefits of greed and moonshine. You happen to hear those kind of guys coming at you, run. Or be a ram, but back. It's one thing about direct fighting, it's also something about indirect fighting. Gandhi was teaching us that one. Gandhi was showing fighting by not fighting. Gandhi was showing us how to live and how to show the people the pain. If they've got any heart and soul, they'll see the injustice. But there's a problem sometimes with that because other people are so out of tune with it, they don't want to see it. It's not a shame. They don't care. They've been burned down inside. They've been burned out inside. So naturally, they'll be the ones laughing their asses off, encouraging others or I'll still decide to take the fight to the weak and beat the crap out of them and enjoy it. Or basically force other people to do it, which normally happens anyway, and then claim total victory. History is also complete with that one. It's littered with that kind of information. And they say the stories are written by the victors. No, not really, because the stories are also written by the observers and also by the losers. How things are, how things were, by a point of view. Point of view saying that you have to be moral enough, you have to be righteous enough, and therefore you're going to be righteous enough, you have to be indoctrinated. Therefore, I'm going to brainwash you into it. I'm going to put this posted stuff that is against the law in here, and you will study and obey it. And one of these here days, you're going to vote to change the law to make sure this thing is legal. Otherwise, always the implied threat in it, the implied fear. There's my door. Bring it in. Bring it in. You're going to tell me that your belief system is going to be greater than mine, and I have to follow yours? I need it for moral support. I need to support my immortal corpse, traipsing around all over the place. In short distances, I can walk without it, but other distances, I use it. A constant reminder of things that I have to deal with on a basis. It's a broken down piece of thing. But some people don't consider it as an influencer one way or another. So if I happen to have this in front of me, I'm telling you and showing you that A, I need it for support, and B, don't mess with me. That's the threat. Especially when you come marching through my damn door with jackboots and telling me that I have to. I have to. I don't have to do anything. If this is my house of public education, you're not putting the damn Ten Commandments in here. I already got the Ten Commandments in book forms, in electronic forms. I don't need that posted anywhere. I can educate people one way or another about it, but in an educational sort of way, and not saying that this you must have, this must you believe, this you will quote as a mantra, you will do this as a prayer, you will do this every single moment of your life because we told you so. Welcome to Sharia law. Now I say it like I'm a belligerent fool. And I kept telling God, I'm a fool, I'm an idiot. I've said so on the air, I'm a fool, I'm an idiot. But I'm not going to stand by this shit. I'm not going to clean up my language half the time either. Maybe a God or an angel will just come down here and try to give me an explanation. I'll say, where's the boss? You don't want to meet the boss, it's not your time. Well, then, if I happen to meet the boss at that point, it'll probably be too late because I've already lost and wasted the opportunity. In order to make a difference, in order to correct a mistake, in order to produce my minority view upon others, telling you you are wrong because this is not how it's supposed to have been, and this is not how it's supposed to be. We have laws, rules, and regulations in our country, United States of America. Sometimes they don't make sense, and they need revising and fixing. But to allow religion to be the primary dominant force instead of the will of the people, I understand the will of I understand people have to have their own moral compasses. I understand that. They come from different backgrounds, different beliefs, different sections. They have to be pluralistic, open-minded, understand that everyone else has their own different belief systems, their own viewpoints of the one thing, and we are still looking at it from different viewpoints. I never imagined or thought or wanted to be a teacher or an educator. It was not my job to be an influencer. It's not my job to tell people what's going on. It's not my job. I didn't chase after it. I didn't want it. But now it seems at my old damn age, coming up on 60 shortly, that I'm going to be put in that situation and area far too late. Why couldn't I have been an influencer a long time ago? Because I didn't think of it, feel it, or want it in the first place. Actually, I did. Actually, I did, Reverend. Let's make a confession at this point. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be like the writers I've seen. And in that way, maybe I wanted to be an influencer, be famous. People would know me. People would know me. Hey, I know that writer over there. It took them a long time for other writers to be known, and a lot of work and a lot of sweat. I thought it would be easy. It isn't. But I know that hard work and perseverance and a good stout heart, I'm not talking about the physical organ either, can change things and people around you. I just been too damn stupid to figure that one out. But then again, I wasn't out there to influence or change people left and right. I was just there to live life. Be a fan of science fiction. Show that stuff off. If I was a fan of God, I wasn't exactly showing it very much. But I wasn't bad mouthing his ass either. So what gets to me is when I have to see people forcing their will, their viewpoints, their will, everything else on everybody else, and think it's okay and acceptable. It isn't. So now I got my own YouTube channel. I thought I was going to be using it as a memory lifeboat and for self-help therapy. I discovered there's a few people out there are actually listening to me for a change. That's terrifying. And seeing things happening right now, I'm talking about it because they are affecting me one way or another. And I feel like I have to put my voice out there, even in congregations such as yours. But am I an influencer? You tell me. Am I out there for fame or glory? Am I out there chasing my ego? You tell me. I don't get that much feedback from people. I know God can judge me. I know Jesus can judge me. I already judged myself to be a fool and idiot. But I am not out there to browbeat people with the ideas and ideologies and theories that they have to follow me. Screw that noise. They follow their own selves. They follow their own rules and regulations. They follow their own laws and guidelines. They follow their own hearts and minds and souls, their own value systems. They value, and they fight for what they believe in. That's what I want. Even if it conflicts with mine, I will support the right, but I don't have to support the ideal or ideology. And I sure as hell don't support the will trying to be over overwhelming me because they say so. Screw that noise. I fight. Christ wants me to be his lamb. Fine. Where's the rams? Where's the rams? I'm not. I'm not complying. I'm a black sheep. I'm stubborn. But I don't go off walking off and saying and I'm done with Christ. No, I'm not done with Christ. Christ ain't done with me. Neither is God. And if I have to grow up to be a ram, then I have to grow up to be a ram. And if I have to go out to defend the flock, I'll defend the flock. Because that's my job. I didn't want it. I got signed to the damn thing. So now I got to get my nose stuck into the damn thing. And if it means there has to be separation of church and state because of laws that we've already established in this country, United States of America, then let's get to it. I understand the need for having morality. I understand of having morality being shown to everybody. What is to be this kind of believer? I understand that. You go into 12-step halls, you don't have a super minority influencing everybody and saying this has to be our way because we say so. No, we consent, but we also vote on it. Yeah, I had to get this off my chest. I'm not sorry that I chewed off people's ears and I've insulted the crap out of them. I had to be direct. If I'm not welcome, I'm not welcome. Or probably have to be muted. Fine. But I will say my piece. I won't go willingly with a group. Unless, of course, if Christ is telling me and God's telling me to do that, fine, I'll do that. But if some other jackass who's got the part-time duty of being a shepherd, I'm sorry. I don't follow too well with orders. At least not that much anyway.